I'm Wilfred. I was an interior designer and I taught myself to make miniature art. To become miniature artist, it wasn't something that I planned. There's a lot of trial and error, a lot of failures that people don't get to see. If you want to learn it yourself, but if you don't put to practice and try to hands-on to do it, it's still like not learning at home. Application of knowledge, then is the power. Being a miniature artist is just like being a commando in the army. We always have a sort of a slogan. There's tough time don't last, tough men do. When you face trouble, don't get frustrated, don't straight away give up. Analyze what you need to do, what can be done, and then what are the next steps? Achieve your goal. This was one of my very early pieces, which I made it in April 2020. If you see it is supposed to be me. I want to make something that is related to my past. And of course, the soldier is one of them because I spent some time in the army. And until now, I always say that I've learned a lot of things from the army. Miniature, everybody knows, is a small version of the actual thing. Many people, I find that they wanted to keep a piece of their past. When you look at this item, you start to recall, you had spent this time with somebody dear, maybe he's not around anymore. You used to play with this item, or you visited this place, you used this thing before. It gives people a lot of bring back a lot of those old memories for people. And especially when it comes to a building, it can give you a feeling like you are walking through the actual place. I do have times when I do some old places or old kind of family business shop for a customer. They tell me when they show this thing to their parents start to cry, and so it's like, I feel very satisfied because I did not just make a model, I make the whole feeling for the family. Making miniature, I would say it is quite, it's a long, it's a tedious, and it's also something that requires a lot of your patience. This one, which is the HDB facade, is my second piece of work. Okay, this HDB facade, you can see it's the old HDB. It actually was my childhood home. I've actually lived here for 12 years. I built this one almost, I would say, at least almost 90% from memory, because I only got a very, very small black and white photo of this little corner only, where the photo actually shows myself and my brother and sister playing at these corners. I can draw since young. I love art. I love to make handicraft, all this hands-on kind of thing. We don't come from a rich family, so sometimes we don't get to have toys that people have. I will go and find something to make my own toys to play. After secondary school, I always wanted to do graphic. The only place where they have this kind of arts subject was at Parodin Vocational Institute. My academic was not that good. I think maths, English, science, you have to pass. But my science, I got F9. So I couldn't go into Parodin. Eventually, when I'm 18, then I joined the army. I was enlisted in June 1984 into the Commando. Then I signed on as a regular. I was a section commander. During army training, we have mission and so on. The men will look at you and wait for your instruction. You try to adapt to the environment, and I always apply this principle into whatever job that I do. I make things from scratch, and you try to adapt or improvise whatever material that you have to make certain things. These are most of the things that I use very often. If you buy packet coffee, it comes with the string that actually holds the coffee. I use it as a water hose or something on the tap, so it looks very realistic. Okay, this interesting thing is that tin foil from all the Milo tin, Ovaltine. I actually got them from the coffee shop auntie. Most of the time I use cardboard, but cardboard, let's say if I want something that is, maybe I want it to curve a little bit. I just show some example like this. It stays, you see, the shape, whereas cardboard, it doesn't stay, and it's free. I left the army in 1993. It's not because I lost interest in the army, no. Because I got married, so it's more of a concern that I have for my wife. To her, it's a bit of too much adventure on my job. So that's when I decided that I want to leave the army. I always have this art thing in me. So what came to my mind was I can do interior design, and so I start to pick up and learn interior from magazine. I was lucky enough, a friend referred me to an architectural company, whereas I was starting all over again on a new job. I do a lot of learning, and most of the things are sort of self-taught. Because to a boss, when you join a company, you're expected to work, and not you come here as a school to learn. This is UNESCO dragon. Okay, we are here today because I wanted to make our very own heritage dragon. Usually, when I make my model, I do not physically go with a measuring tape to go and measure the object itself. Through my interior design, this experience, I'm able to gauge some dimension. So I asked my wife to stand in front of the dragon head. So from there, I was able to scale out the whole proper proportion of the dragon itself. Okay, 28 years as an interior designer was a very great learning experience. Fortunate enough to be able to do many kind of jobs. In 2020, I was going to be 55 that year. So I was thinking to myself, maybe it's time for me to slow down my pace a bit and do something that I like to do. When you're younger, because of family commitment and so on, you don't really have much time to do something that you wanted to do. If I don't do now, then when is the time to do? One was the main concern was actually monetary at the time. When I started to do this miniature job, it was like a few $100s only I can get per month. But very blessed to have a very supportive wife that has been supporting me these past 3 years.
When he initially told me that he wants to fully retire from his interior work, in fact, I felt very worried at that time. As a family, we need finance in order to sustain daily income and things like that. But there again, I know life is short, and we have been husband and wife for 30 years. If I'm not going to support him in this area, right, I think who would support him?
Okay, for this dragon head, this is basically compressed foam board. I realized a lot of retail shops, they actually have this A2 size foam board as an advertisement. Most of the time after the promotion, they actually will discard away the board, you see. So I approached them and asked them if they are okay to give me those unwanted boards. When I decided I want to do miniature art, I would have to say I do not know actually what is the future of this miniature art thing. I didn't know anything about this miniature art. I don't know who are the people that is doing miniature work in Singapore. Don't know anything about where can I buy material. Okay, now I will draw all the lines of the dragon head. This is actually a self-made tool. You can see this wooden part is actually from an old brush, which I actually cut, didn't throw it off. And then I fixed the nail, one of the end, and then I sharpened this nail. So now what I need to do is that I need to etch out the outline of the tiles. I didn't come from a rich family. I see people have toys. I cannot afford certain things, never mind, I make myself. The schoolware is spoiled, you have to repair it. So you try to treasure things, hey, not everything that is damaged, you get a new one. How you go and adapt or improve or make good, improvise that thing. Okay, now I'm actually working on the wire body of the dragon. I realized that it is one of the most complicated and tedious part because all the rings on the body itself, they are not actually joined together. So it's quite a tedious work as I need to individually, piece by piece, and join them up. What I always realized that, okay, you want to learn something, it's not necessary that you must go and attend a course. And by learning yourself, because you go through a lot of things that people don't tell you. You tried it out. Eventually, I realized that you learn more things than what is taught, a course will teach you. But most importantly, you must put into practice and start the first step. Okay, this is the dragon playground. It looks rather simple, but because of the tedious work of the dragon body itself, so it took me about 2 months to complete this little playground. And it's done in the scale of 1:50.
When I first know him, I didn't know that he has this art flair. Only one day, he gave me a handmade Valentine's Day card. Then I saw it's a 3D card that it really surprised me. From then I know that, he's quite good at art. And one of the most significant artwork that Wilfred did is, in fact, my father's provision shop. This art piece is so significant to me because I grew up from this place. Actually, when I look at this art piece, right, every single thing evoked my memory. Even the smell of the store and some of the goods like the dried prawns and the dried vegetables. When I see the art piece, right, I can even smell them from there. My father has run this store for 40 over years. Even at this old age, we have been telling him to retire, but he just don't bear to let go and let somebody do. Wilfred decided, say, why don't I do an art piece and give it to him so that even if he really were to retire one day, at least he still can have a piece of memory.
Every time when we visited his store at that time, I realized that he has many stuff inside. I try to make it exactly as what I see over there because to an observer, it looks good enough. But to the owner itself, all these little details are very important because to him, a piece of broken down, all the stains, all his telephone numbers that he write on the wall and so on, these are all his memories.
I remember that day we went to his house. He was so surprised that why that art piece can be exactly the same as his actual store. When I passed him this art piece, he turned away and wiped his tear. So it's a lot of emotion in there.
I used to work on my dining table lah. When there are friends around, I could keep all my thing, and when people leave, then I bring all my barang out again. But it was lucky that I have an understanding wife that for the past 3 years she was able to accept all this rubbish hanging around.
I support him, of course, definitely is really out of love. I'm very proud of Wilfred because his work is being recognized and people know about his work, people know about his talent, and he can also make a living out of his passion. I'm actually very happy that many people start to request for his art piece and commission him to do special work for them.
I'm not really very successful yet. It's actually all the fans and friends that actually gave me all this support and recognition. It's something that is not expected when I decided to become a miniaturist. And eventually it became another career because of people commission me to do things. And of course, I'm happy to build this memory for more people and not just for myself. Until now, I think should have about 20 over commission jobs. These jobs is more about a feeling. When the person looks at it, it must evoke that kind of emotion in them.
Hi, buddy. How are you? Huh?
Good. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. We have not met for a long time.
Yes. Haven't met you for a while.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you where I put the miniature that you did for me. Let me show you.
Oh, okay. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I put it together with some of the important stuff that I used to have while I was in service.
So honored to see it with all your army stuff.
I got to know Wilfred when he was the RSM of 543 SIR, and I was a division RSM of 3rd Singapore Division. When Wilfred decided to focus on his art, he met me and he told me about it. I decided to commission Wilfred to do this miniature of a standby bed because it reminds me of what I was taught in the ASF in my early days as a young recruit. When I first saw the miniature, I was overwhelmed. He was able to understand exactly what I want and deliver it and produce it to a level that I couldn't even express myself. For example, I never tell him that I wanted the cobwebs to be under the bed. He put it there. I never asked for a magazine under the mattress, but it was there. When I look at the miniature, I see myself in the uniform. I see myself standing there.
When I do my miniature work, I do not rush into my work and just quickly complete the job. I will try to scrutinize and make sure that everything is there before the job is complete and before it's handed over to the customer. So this Chinese saying is say, 过得了自己，过得了别人哦。That means I can pass, then I will pass it to you. I don't expect you to accept it when I myself don't feel comfortable about it. Grand Prix season Singapore. This exhibition is at Kampong Glam. They wanted an iconic building within the racetrack and able to sort of represent Singapore. The first thing that come to my mind was this former Supreme Court National Gallery. And the main thing is that the racetrack runs directly in front. I received a call in early June when they mentioned to me that they wanted to invite me to be part of this event. Actually, when I received the call, I was rather excited. Grand Prix Season Singapore is one of the big events in Singapore. The amount of people that are going to come to Singapore, tourists, local. When I started doing miniature, I've never come to mind that I can be part of this kind of prestigious or grand event kind of thing. Some people measure success as you must complete a very great task, you must make a lot of money, your goal is very high. Sometimes people put their goal as too big, the final product, and in between there are all these small little challenges. In some time, you meet with halfway one of those challenges, you cannot do it, then the whole thing is abolished, you see. I look at success as a smaller little scale thing. And I group all these little success together to form the final product.